Hello, Phaedra from Phaedra Gardeness. There is a very common misconception about dahlias that you need to pick them when they're fully open because they'll no longer open. I'm here to debunk that today. Start with a bucket, and I have a tiny little bit of just cool water in the bottom. I'm filling this bucket up, well, not filling it up, maybe an inch and a half of boiling water. Let's go with an inch. Many of you already know the boiling water trick, that you pick your stems and put them straight into boiling water and let it cool down. We're going to do that, but then we've got some extra steps. Normally when people pick dahlias, they're picking them very open because they believe that it's not going to change, that that's as far as it's going to go. I'll show you another example. They'd go for something like this, and that's fine. It's just going to have a much shorter vase life than if you pick it when it hasn't opened. It's about halfway open. So let's pick some like this, pop them straight into our boiling water, and then we'll get on to the next step. And we'll go get one of my absolute most favorite dahlias called Avalanche. And this is where I learned this technique because I accidentally popped open some of the secondary buds on a stem once. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take them over to the studio where it's cool and dark. I'm just going to leave them there until that boiling water cools down to room temperature, and then we're going to do the next step. The water in that bucket is nice and cool, so now we're going to switch it over to a bucket with the Crystal Professional 2 in it, and now that is where it's going to sit. Something to add at this point is I've just got these at room temperature. They're not in a cooler. If you keep them cooler, it does slow down how quickly they'll open. If it gets warmer, they'll open much faster. There is a sweet spot. If they take too long to open, the petals age faster. So you'll have to do your own testing on that one with your varieties. Have a look at these. It is Saturday morning. And they have all, this one is still opening. These little tiny buds have opened up. We've got a spider on that one. Another little bud that's opening. It must have just been at the top of one of the stems. So it's almost been a full week. And the flowers are sort of at the point where you would pick them. Day 7. They're all opening up. This was the tiny closed bud. So it's day 7. I haven't actually changed any water because realistically people don't do that at home. But I will change it today because I need that vase. So I'm going to pop them into a clean bucket with fresh crystal solution in it. Okay, I cut 1 to 2 inches off the bottom of each of them just so they've got their fresh stems nice and cut. They're ready to just sit. We'll just see now, but I mean, they're looking beautiful. Let's get a photo a week in. Avalanche. That was seagull, I'm pretty sure. It's lost all its colour. Another avalanche. A little ball. It hasn't finished opening. This was sand dune. It was a very closed ball. Oh, I can't remember what this one was, but it hasn't done well. This looks perfect. That is first prize. First prize just is honestly the winner on every test I ever do for anything. And that was a very closed bud. So they definitely open. Some are obviously going to be better at this. I think any of the decorative ones, the really big dinner plates don't work too good because the outer leaves get old and they show, whereas something like a ball, I mean, the outer leaves look fine anyway. Balls are just so good as a cut flower. But the ball, if the first petals do brown, it eventually curls around and you can't see them. So very good candidate. Avalanche does amazing, which you wouldn't expect because it's a decorative and it is white. But they will open from tiny closed buds. This will keep opening. It has one petal there, but it was most likely a damaged petal on the bud already. And some of these little ones are a bit fragile to do it with. I think this is Salmon Joy. She's done pretty good. But some of these you could now use in your bouquet, like the avalanche. A week later, you could be using them. And the definitely first prize, I wouldn't be putting sand dune in a bouquet at this point. The outer petals are just too obvious. And obviously whatever this was, this one actually makes me think that the stem wasn't in the water at some point. It's just performed extremely badly with the test. So now what I'm going to do, set up a time lapse so you can see a bud open completely from beginning to end. I'll leave that set up for as long as it takes to show you how they open. I just find that so fascinating to watch. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll play it again right at the end for those who want to watch it again. Those flowers are now at day 9, the end of day 9, so almost 10 days in. The water is filthy, it's murky, I haven't changed it, so if I have changed it, they would be looking a lot better right now. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to do this experiment in conditions very similar to how our customers would treat things. So they typically don't change the water. They're not keeping anything in a chilled room. So everything was done at room temp, roughly around 19 degrees, 18, 19 degrees. It dropped a little bit at night and it would warm up a little bit more during the day, but not very much. It didn't fluctuate much in this room. And I didn't change water over unless I said, like you could see me doing it. So in that time lapse, the water hasn't changed. And looking at those flowers now, the water hasn't been changed. Obviously, we're going to get better results if we care for the flowers better. But I do think it is absolutely amazing to watch dahlias open from closed buds. Some of those buds were very closed. There's still some more tests I'd like to do. I would also like to test out the different types of dahlias a little bit more. As it stands, the ball type are performing well above anything else. Apart from my avalanche, which is a decorative dahlia, it's just performs beautiful. So it'll be good to see what other varieties I've got that are going to perform as well. So that's probably what I'd encourage you to do with your dahlias. Test them and see which ones perform the best. There are some that their vase life doesn't change. So if you pick them from a bud or you've picked them fully open, they've got the same vase life, they just don't seem to hold well. The water lily ones didn't work very well for me and just a couple of the decoratives. It's very hit and miss, so I think you need to figure out what varieties work the best for you. I think there could be application here for transporting dahlias much easier, so that's something I'd like to look into next season as well. Our season's about to end, so my experimenting with this is pretty well done. Key points, definitely cut into the boiling water. I've done tests on this before. There's videos on my channel about that. I think a short about it as well. I tested how to best condition dahlias. Cut into the boiling water and use the Crystal Professional 2. That is the game changer. It helps stop the growth of bacteria in the water. It provides nutrients to the flower. The other thing to keep in mind is also the temperature. So I did all these tests at room temperature, so around 19 degrees. Sometimes it went down a bit at night, up a little bit during the day, but roughly around 19 degrees Celsius. If it got hotter, so in tests that I hadn't put on this video, much warmer room, obviously those flowers blew open a lot quicker and the vase life was shorter. Colder and they opened shorter. They opened slower. There is a sweet spot though. If those buds open too slowly, the quality of the petals declines. So you've got to find that sweet spot, which I think I've found, and I've taught you this in the video. So let's enjoy that time lapse again, and I'll see you next time.